what could you really do? Why watch the news about the fucking war? Why look at war news? How are you affected by it? What could you do about it? Who you know is affected by it? What steps could you take? In our country, we have our own issues with mandates, with people needing jobs. This is all a distraction. It's always a fucking distraction. All right? A new fear, a new threat. That's all it is. It's a new fear, a new threat, a new distraction. Why? Because people are coming together and asking questions. Because now, regardless of what race you are, what color you are, what gender you are, what sexual orientation you are, you do not want fucking mandates. You do not want the fucking jab. You do not want to keep fucking covering your face. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to get back to normal life. And they're looking for somebody to blame for that. They're looking at who's in power right now, and people want to get them out of fucking power. Hey, what's good, y'all? It's your bro, The God. Today, I'm talking about current events, what's going on right now. I'm giving y'all 10 truths of what's going on right now. Because as we see, the news has changed recently. The narrative has changed. Before, it was all about COVID and vax and shit like that. And now it's about the Russian-Ukraine war. Now, why is that? So let's find out with these 10 facts. All right, so fact number 1. It's a fact that the narrative has changed from COVID and vaccines to the Russian and Ukraine war. And you could tell this by, let's just say, if you use YouTube. When you go on your YouTube, whether you look at vaccine shit or COVID shit or not, they had a whole freaking bar of just a whole bunch of videos updating vaccines, talking about COVID, talking about mandates, all this and that shit. Now, I use YouTube a lot. That's like the main way that I like to watch things because I like to ask questions and look for answers. And YouTube helps me with that. Now, when I go on my YouTube feed, usually it's the shit that I like looking at. You know, like cars, sports, history, women, and things like that. And then there's always that bar with the COVID news and shit that I never fucking click on. So it's not something that I ever liked, subscribed to, followed, or even watched. But they kept on giving it to me. Like they want me to watch this dumb shit. That's why I told y'all, you guys don't need to even watch the news. Any news that you have to know, they make sure you know. They make sure, like, you gotta get a text, an email, a fucking phone call, a little alarm shit on your phone, right? It's gonna pop up somewhere. They blast the news they want you to know, the news that you have to know. Now, when you go on YouTube or when you click the TV, right? Now it's all about this war. What is Putin doing? What is Ukraine doing? What about these people? What about that? People are making jokes about it. There's memes about it and shit now. That's where the narrative has changed. Why? Because now what was happening is people were asking questions. People were asking questions about COVID. They were asking questions about the vaccines. They were questioning the structure. They were questioning this control thing going on. People were asking questions. And when people start asking questions and looking for answers, they start finding out who the fuck they really are. The oppressors do not want you to know who the fuck you really are, because then you'll find out that you are powerful. When you find out you are powerful, then guess what? Shit is gonna change. No future is guaranteed. There's a future that they're trying to portray to us, they want us to believe in, but it's not guaranteed. Everything has an unlimited, an infinite amount of possibilities. And it takes belief, a large amount of belief, a collective belief, as well as a bunch of chains of events to happen in order for a certain future to occur. For a future that, let's say, an oppressor wants to occur, they need certain things to go right, and they need a majority of people to believe something to be true. So the fact that people were questioning things and more and more people were not believing the narrative that was going on, now they need to change that. As you see, they're taking away these mask mandates, they're taking away the vaccine mandates, they're taking away all these fucking mandates because, as we said before, it was a test, alright? But now the news is showing Russia and Ukraine war. Why? We're going from one fear and threat, which was COVID, to another fear and threat, which is Russia-Ukraine war, right? Oh, what would happen if Russia takes over Ukraine? Oh, World War III. All this dumb shit. All right, here's the second factor, right? Russia participated in the COVID shutdowns. Take that for what it's worth. There was a collective of governments that participated in COVID shutdowns and the vaccine mandates and all that shit. And there were certain countries that didn't do shit. They didn't shut down. They didn't force nobody to wear a mask. They didn't force nobody to get a vaccine. They didn't force shit. That should tell you something about all these governments and all these countries. Now, the countries that didn't do shit is not because, oh, nobody ever got fucking sick and shit like that. It's just there was no fucking point to do it. Now let's go to fact number 3. So number 3, COVID was a new form of population control. You saw all these governments that were basically pushing the shutdowns and the mandates and stuff like that. And the population, whether it was a democracy or a communist, government, they still forced a new type of population control. So it didn't matter if it was, Putin, or if you have a president or a prime minister that you voted for and shit like that. It didn't fucking matter. You had no choice. You had no say in the matter. You did not vote for shit. You ain't vote for shutdowns. You ain't vote for mandates. You ain't vote for masks. You feel me? You had no fucking say in the matter, alright? And that's a fact, alright? That's fact number 3. Now, let's go into fact number 4. So fact number 4, war is another form of population control. War is basically you destroying another country, fucking up their structure, and implementing your own structure to control their population with your structure. Not only that, it also helps with keeping population numbers down, because in war, people die. What people die in war? Men. And by going to war, you lower the population of men in both countries, which brings us to fact number 5, right? So fact number 5 is women are a valuable resource. Why are women a valuable resource? Because women are, 1, they're submissive, and 2, women create life. Women grow and give birth to new life. So women are a valuable resource because they're creators. And also women are great at teaching. They're great at guiding, right? You teach a woman a structure or culture and shit like that, she's gonna grow it. Also, it's very easy. It's much easier to control a group of women with much less manpower than it is to control a group of men. You need more manpower to control a group of men than you do to control a group of women. Now, fact number 6. Fact number 6 ties into fact number 4 with the population control of how men are used in wars to basically lower the number of men. And fact number 6 is that men build structures, create cultures, and protect the women. So if you want the land of another country, you want the women of another country, you got to get rid of the men from that country. That way, because you want to change the structure of that country, you want to change the culture of that country. But you want to keep the women there because the women are the ones that basically hold the information of that land, that culture and stuff like that, right? You want to keep that type of bloodline there. So you keep the women there. You know what I'm saying? You could use less men. Males are not really necessary unless you need manpower, basically. That's when men are necessary. When you need manpower to either build something or enforce something. Outside of that, the women are always welcomed. You know what I'm saying? That's why with the Russian-Ukraine war, there's this, thing going around where the Ukrainian women are saying that there's Russian soldiers already trying to holler at them. They're already DMing them. They're already, hitting them up on dating sites and stuff like that. They're already trying to bag them and shit. You know what I'm saying? They're killing off the men and they're trying to take the women. That's why women are also considered spoils of war, because women are resources. So that brings us to fact number 7. And fact number 7 is that Ukraine is one of the world leaders in natural resources. They have a whole bunch of mining sites for metals, iron, I think titanium, and a bunch of other fucking metals that I don't know about. Also, they're really big on agriculture. So it's said that Ukraine is able to feed up to 600 million people. That's a lot of fucking people. You feel me? And especially with Russia, where it's mostly brick over there, and since the government controls fucking everything, a lot of times they have issues with fucking feeding people. So that could always be a big benefit. So they have natural resources and they have great agriculture. Now, fact number 8. Here's the 8th thing. And that is China is not getting involved, supposedly. They're not getting involved, but There are sources saying that they are funding Russia in this fucking war. Like they're giving them money to do certain shit, basically. And it's widely known that China is not stepping in. China's right there. China got the manpower. China has the resources, stuff like that, to aid in putting an end to the war and stuff. But they're not. Why is that? Well, that brings us into fact number 9. And fact number 9 is China wants Taiwan back. So Russia wants Ukraine and China wants Taiwan. So if Russia is able to take Ukraine by force, then what do you think China's gonna do next? If nobody stops Russia, who the fuck is gonna stop China from taking Taiwan? So that's fact number 9. Now, fact number 10. Fact number 10 is Russia is the only white powerhouse country that is not in NATO. So if you look at the countries that are, that are signed to the whole NATO thing, you're gonna see all the Caucasian, white, whatever you want to call it, govern powerhouse countries, right? So Canada, the US, the UK, Australia, Germany, France and shit like that. They are all signed to fucking NATO. But Russia is the only one that's not. You don't see African, Latin American countries and shit signed to fucking NATO, because Latin American countries and also African countries are also like, basically a lot of them are controlled by white governed countries. So they don't have to sign up to NATO. And another thing is Latin American countries deal with a lot of like civil battles. Like you've seen what happened with Venezuela. A lot of that happens also in Africa, where you have rebels and stuff like that trying to, get rid of their own government. So they have their own issues. It's only white governed countries that are in NATO, except for Russia. Now everybody's gonna be like, oh, but that's because, they're communists and it's mostly democracy type countries and shit like that. Yeah, maybe. Like I said, this is all about me. I'm just sharing facts with y'all. I'm not telling y'all what is right, what is wrong. I'm just sharing facts with y'all so that way you guys could ask questions, all right? So those are the 10 facts. Listen back to it. Keep those in mind. Remember, what could you really do? Why watch the news about the fucking war? Why look at war news? How are you affected by it? What could you do about it? Who you know is affected by it? What steps could you take? In our country, we have our own issues with mandates, with people needing jobs. This is all a distraction. It's always a fucking distraction, all right? A new fear, a new threat. That's all it is. It's a new fear, a new threat, a new distraction. Why? Because people are coming together and asking questions. Because now, regardless of what race you are, what color you are, what gender you are, what sexual orientation you are, you do not want fucking mandates. You do not want the fucking jab. You do not want to keep fucking covering your face. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to get back to normal life. And they're looking for somebody to blame for that. They're looking at who's in power right now, and people want to get them out of fucking power. Now, is that the answer? I'm not going to say that. That's for y'all to think about and decide for yourselves. The one power I could tell you that we all have that is more powerful than anything else is, as I said, our imagination. If you want a certain outcome when it comes with Ukraine and Russia, and your life is fucking perfect, because you should use your mental energy on, helping out what you can see, what you can feel, what you can touch, who you do know. But if you do want to have type of help like that, type of worldwide, global influence or, power and shit, then, like I said, write down like, a little nice, beautiful scene and shit that you could imagine in your mind that you want to see, happen and feel it happen, right? If you want to see that, the Russian troops pull back, that the Ukrainians are, free and they're rebuilding their economy and rebuilding their land and stuff like that, and everything is working beautifully, then, picture that in your mind and believe that it's going to happen. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world, all right? Anyways, the boy, the God, I'll catch y'all next time. 1.